Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is yours truly TJ Jones, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. This is a live reaction show. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Saints Week 3 matchup against the New York Football Giants, and I got to say that it was very, very refreshing watching this game, man. What's going on, young Nola? It was very refreshing watching this game, man. I mean, everything about this game, man, it makes you very, very optimistic about the New Orleans Saints this season. I mean, unbelievable, man. Like they came out, man, they came out popping, man. You know what I'm saying? They came out there, you know what I'm saying, clicking on all cylinders, no doubt about it, man. Like I was very impressed with this team, man. The first team, these guys were like in mid-season form, man. Especially Drew Brees, man. Everybody been wondering what Drew Brees at. You know, everybody wondering when we was gonna see number 9 take the field, and he goes out there, man. And I mean, they absolutely did exactly what they needed to do. It was just absolutely incredible, man. Um, I couldn't believe what I saw, man. Like, I mean, it seemed like they just picked up where they left off last season. I mean, man, Drew Brees was outstanding. And I was glad, man, because all this Taysom Hill, um, all this Teddy Bridgewater, who the future quarterback is. Look, ain't nobody worried about that, man. Ain't nobody worried about that. Drew Brees quiet all the critics. He let everybody know that he is still here. Y'all don't need to be talking about no Bridgewater. Y'all don't need to be talking about no Hill. Y'all need to be talking about me. That first drive, man. I mean, to Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and all those people out there that was talking about Michael Thomas. Everybody was talking about well, not everybody, but some people. They were talking about, oh man, he not worth the money. He not worth all that money. I want to hear those people say that now. Did y'all see that catch that he made? Okay, there's only a few guys that are going to make that catch. There are only a few guys in the National Football League that are going to make that catch. That guy is worth every penny that the New Orleans Saints gave him, man. And I don't want to hear nothing else about nobody talking about Michael Thomas and his bread, because that man is the truth, straight up, man. But let's talk about the defense. First team defense. I talked about this on the pregame edition of the State of the Saints podcast. If you didn't listen to that, check it out. I did one earlier today, and I talked about what I wanted to see from the defense. And it's exactly what I saw, man. Marshawn Lattimore, man, making that extra step. It's just something about Lattimore, man, this season, man. Watching him in training camp, watching him do interviews, he wants to be great. He wants to be great, man. He has all the tools to be the next great cornerback in the National Football League. And him doing what he did, ripping that ball out of Ty Montgomery's hand, that shows you right there, man. These guys are hungry. These guys are ready. Man, I was very impressed with the team, man. I was very, honestly, like everything was popping tonight, man. Everything was popping tonight. Offense, defense, special teams. We seen Dante Harris take it to the house. We seen him generate a turnover. We seen the first team just go down the field. Both Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill played really well tonight. You know, I mean, I seen a couple of passes. I mean, we seen a couple of passes probably could have hit some receivers. Both of them were off target. I mean, everybody can be as accurate as Drew Brees. But for the most part, both backup quarterbacks played really well. And the running game was really good, too. I mean, Devon Zigbo, I mean, bruh, I mean, the race between him and Dwayne Washington is like this. And if anybody do something, they elevate like that. Somebody else do something. I mean, it's like neck and neck. But right now, if you ask me, Devon Zigbo is probably winning right now because he's a better pass catcher than Dwayne Washington. Dwayne Washington is a good running back, but I think the reason why he's going to be on the outside looking in is because his inability to catch the ball. I mean, a couple of those screen passes, man, just went right through his hands. And we all know that the screen game is really, really important to the Saints. And if you can't catch that ball out the backfield, you're not going to be able to play in a Sean Payton offense, man. So no matter how good Dwayne Washington is, I mean, he got a lot of power. I mean, he can get upfield, man, go north south. But if you can't catch that ball out the backfield, man, that's going to be a hindrance. Okay, and you're going to be on the outside looking in. And it's sad, man, if that's the case, because Dwayne Washington, I've been rooting for this guy, man. I've been singing his praises since last season. But if you can't catch that football, man, it's going to be tough. We also seen Emmanuel Butler. I mean, we seen Emmanuel Butler finally, man. It seemed like he shook off the nerves of that Chargers game, and he made a few plays. So that was very promising, man. I mean, he dropped one pass, and Curtis Johnson. Curtis Johnson got on him, man, about dropping that pass. It just seems like he's just a little nervous, but as the season progressed, it seems like Butler is going to be the real deal. Traquan Smith, I'm a little bit disappointed in him. I don't know what's going on with him. I thought that he would have took a little bit of a stride from year one to year two, but it don't seem like it's been happening this preseason, man. And honestly, some of these wide receivers out here are kind of outplaying him right now. So I don't know. He needs to really do something in that fourth game. I would be highly surprised if Sean Payton don't have Traquan Smith out there on the field. Also, on the defensive side of the ball, we had a Marcus Davenport sighting. I mean, almost got sacked, forcing a quarterback out of the pocket, for incompletion. Very impressed about the defense. I mean, just did an outstanding job, man. And I don't know, man. I don't know why Sean Payton had those guys on the field that long, man. I mean, I just feel like with the offense, if they go out there on that first drive and they have like a good solid drive, just take them off the field. Same thing with the defense. I understand you want guys to, be flying around and stuff like that. But if they show you that, man, they ready, just go ahead and take them off the field. Let's go see some of these other guys. But everybody did outstanding job, man. There's not too much complaining I can do in this game, because I think everybody did outstanding job, man. Every side of the football. Every side of the football have you just really, really excited about this season, no doubt. But that's my opening statement. So you already know I'm a man of the people. So right now I'm just going to answer some questions that I see on the live chat. And once again, thank y'all for tuning in, and I appreciate it, man. This is my first time. I got the Logitech webcam now. I got the microphone, man. So we on and popping right now, man. We're gonna be doing a lot of live streams now, man, no doubt, and be answering your questions about the game, man. What y'all think? Go ahead, comment, and let me know what y'all thought about the game. Let me know what you think and what was your favorite part of the game. Shouts out to Young Nola. Jerry Poe, what's going on, Jerry? I appreciate the love. Yeah, Davenport did show up, Young Nola. He definitely did, and that's positive right there. And I guess that's probably because nobody really been talking about him, man. And when talking about him, it's not anything really too positive. It's not about anything like he did on the field. It just seems like everybody's been talking about how Trey Hendrickson outplayed him. So he came out, man. He showed up and he showed out today, man. He showed up against the Jets, and I'm very happy about that, man. Like, if you can get Davenport and Hendrickson playing at a high level, I think the Saints may have something when it comes to the pass rush, man. I think they might even be in the top 5 in sacks as a team. So I'm very optimistic, very happy to know that Davenport decided to show up to the meeting. Yeah, Jerry, glad to see Drew Brees play. Yeah, me too, man. And not just because, man, we all know what Drew Brees can do. Let's just go ahead and just say that. We know what Drew Brees can do. It's no surprise, man. We know that Drew Brees can wheel and he can deal, okay? But I'm more excited about seeing Drew brees tonight because I'm kind of tired of this whole Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater debate. Like, everybody acting like Drew Brees retiring this year or something. Like, everybody asks me, what you think, man, about Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater? Man, Drew Brees is still around. And I understand, kind of out of sight, out of mind, because Drew Brees hasn't been playing, but this is still Drew Brees' team, man, till he decided to hang up those cleats. It's his team, and I'm glad to see him because I think, everybody has been talking about these two guys, but everybody seems to forget that number 9 is bona fide, certified, true, straight up. Paul. Paul says, "Hey, dude, I love your videos." Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate you for stopping by. Like, I really mean that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your love and your support, bro. Let's see. TGTV Tank Mode. What were your thoughts about Andrew Luck retiring? Man, that was shocking to me. That was absolutely that came out of absolutely nowhere, man. But we all know that Andrew Luck has been dealing with injuries throughout his career. Andrew Luck, he had that shoulder injury that sidelined him for an entire season. That's why the Indianapolis Colts end up getting Jacoby Brissett from the New England Patriots. And we know that he didn't really. I mean, he did a suitable job. I'm not going to throw Jacoby Brissett under the bus. Good quality backup. But he did miss a whole season, and then he came back, and we know that the Colts last season were in the playoffs, but they end up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is nothing wrong with that because the Kansas City Chiefs are a really good football team. I mean, they got the win over the Houston Texans in the wild card round. Andrew Luck was comeback player of the year, so it seemed like everything was going right for the Indianapolis Colts, and this just basically came out of nowhere. But according to sources, they're saying that he's basically kind of worn down. He's worn down because dealing with all these injuries and trying to rehab and getting yourself back into playing shape and trying to get yourself on the field. I guess he got kind of tired of it, man. I mean, Andrew Luck has always been one of those guys that's kind of anti-play, anti-superstar. I mean, he's a NFL star, but he's like so anti-superstar to it ain't even funny. I mean, I think people used to joke around talking about how this guy still was walking around with a flip phone and how he don't even have a social media. I mean, he's always been that type of guy, kind of laid low profile type guy. I mean, it's sad to know that a guy in his prime, man, only 30 years old, is not going to be able to finish out his career on his own terms because anytime Andrew Luck was in the game, man, he did an outstanding job. I mean, you have Frank Wright as the new head coach this past season, and statistically, Andrew Luck had one of his best seasons, man. So I was interested to see how this relationship was going to evolve, Frank Wright and Andrew Luck, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But I do believe, like, in a couple of years, he might come back because, once again, he's only 30 years old, man. He's not, like, 35, 36 going up there in age. He still has a lot of football left in him. I just think that he just probably going to take some time off, recharge the batteries, and probably end up coming back. But ain't no need to go out there and if you're not really into the game, if you're not into what you're doing, because you're going to end up getting hurt. And most importantly, you're going to end up hurting your teammates, man, especially if your heart is not in it. Because anybody that knows or anybody that plays football, man, you got to be fully invested, man, because you always got to keep your head on the swivel and you got to make sure that you're always intense and ready to go at all times. So, man, I want to just say good luck to Andrew Luck. Good luck to Luck. Good luck to him, man. And hopefully, he figured things out. He can get himself back because I really don't feel like this is the last that we've seen of Andrew Luck. But if you want to take some time off to figure things out, I'm not going to be mad at the man. But that's my opinion about it, Tank Mode. Real talk. But a good player, man. Very good player. I've been watching him since he was at Stanford. It's sad to know that he had to go out like that and not on his own terms. Last game, a rookie had to show out for real. I mean, I seen a lot of positive. Man, C.J. Gardner-Johnson played good. Devontae Harris played good. I mean, they did an outstanding job, man. I mean, we even seen the linebacker out of Idaho, man. We seen him out there. He was doing big things. So I mean, I like this rookie class right here, man. The job, man. So I like that, man. I mean, there's really nothing you can really complain about except for all them flags that was thrown. I don't know what the hell was going on with that, man. Like, I think they had about 26, 27 penalties, man. I don't know if they were just trying to do that, trying to get themselves ready. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it seemed like every play was a flag. And the game just dragged along, man. Just dragging, man. Like, I just feel like it's preseason, man. Everybody just trying to see what they got, trying to evaluate talent. Look, it don't need all them flags, man. Just cut it out. Let the guys play. Let them play, please. Get ready Thursday. Yeah, I think they're playing against the Dolphins at home. So, you're not gonna see any of the starters, man. You probably don't even see if you see Bridgewater, you probably gonna see him for maybe like a couple snaps. But I think you're gonna see Taysom Hill all the way. Young Nola, Patrick Robinson, though. Look, Look, man, we all know what Patrick Robinson is. I mean, the guy was drafted back in 2010 by the New Orleans Saints. The guy always struggled. Okay, he always struggled on the outside. That's not his MO. Okay, he's a slot corner. That's what he was ranked as one of the top slot corners in the National Football League with the Philadelphia Eagles when they had their Super Bowl run. He's not an outside corner. So I'm always looking for him to be smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit on the outside. Him and PJ Williams. That's just not their game, man. Those guys are really the guys that control the inside, when a guy going on a slant or dealing with the slot receiver. I mean, on the outside, I mean, he going to get posterized. And Robbie Anderson ain't nothing to sneeze at, though, man. I mean, I know a lot of people don't really talk about this guy. Robbie Anderson is a good wide receiver, man. He the number one receiver on the Jets team. So, guy's a respectable receiver, but I mean, he's not going to play on the outside. I'm talking Patrick Robinson. He's not going to play on the outside when the season starts. So I'm not even too concerned about that. I'm just being real. Like I'm not concerned about it at all. I think he's gonna do a better job on the inside than the outside. So you're not gonna see that. Trust me. Let's see. As a Seattle fan, respecting the heck out of the Saints, what game would you say is the most important game for the Saints in the regular season? Honestly, TGTV, that's hard to tell. That's hard to tell because I mean, we're not there yet. I mean, we can easily just say the first one, you know what I'm saying? Because the New Orleans Saints for the past, I think like maybe 4, even 5 years, they have not won a week one game. So I'm gonna say that this game is important because they don't win many game ones. And honestly, they always struggle against the Houston Texans. So I mean, this is a great test right here. I mean, you have two things, that you need to overcome. You need to overcome these years of starting off slow, and you also got to get over, your woes with the Houston Texans because the last time the Saints played the Texans, I mean, it wasn't the same team. And I think Zach Strief, who is the voice of the Saints right now, I mean, he was actually getting whooped by J.J. Watt, man. I think that's where that soundbite with J.J. Watt was mic'd up, and he said, y'all need to protect Drew. I don't want to hit him. I like Drew. Like they were dominating the Saints in that game. So, and they always, dominate the Saints when they play them, to be honest with you. So I'm interested to see if the Saints can win that week one matchup, TGTV. And I'm looking to see if the Saints can actually beat the Houston Texans in the regular season. I mean, in preseason, they beat them, but in the regular season, they always have struggles against them. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, Ronald Tyler. Okay, man, Chick-fil-A or Popeyes? Um, I like both of them, man. I mean, why do we have to choose between the two? I mean, Chick-fil-A to me, I think they better. If you ask me, though, I think that Chick-fil-A is better than Popeyes. When we talking about chicken itself, now all Popeyes are not created equal. Okay, Popeyes in New Orleans is better than Popeyes anywhere else, in my opinion. Okay, I stay in South Carolina, but ain't nothing like the hometown Popeyes, straight up. And I can't. That's just my opinion. Ain't nothing wrong with Chick-fil-A, but I mean, can't nobody touch Chick-fil-A lemonade though. I can tell you that they got the best lemonade. But as far as fried chicken, New Orleans Popeyes, red beans and rice, New Orleans Popeyes. I ain't never tasted chicken sandwich everybody talking about. I have not tasted that yet. And honestly, I'm kind of waiting for the lines to die down because it just seems like it's just everybody want one. Every time you look on social media, you see lines wrapped around the corner like it was the Tickle Me Elmo just came out in 2000 or something. Y'all remember that on Christmas, around 2000, Tickle Me Elmo was real popular and people was lined up. That's how people lined up to get this chicken sandwich from Popeyes. I don't want that right now, man. Then I'm seeing videos of people fighting, you know what I'm saying, trying to get that last chicken sandwich. Nah, man, I'm good. But I like both of them, though. I know I kind of, just was rambling, but I like both of them. But Popeye chicken in New Orleans is better to me. Let's see. Dan Arnold was the MVP of the game. Yeah. Man, it just seems like Coach Sean Payton wants Dan Arnold to succeed. It just seems like that to me. It seems like he wants him to succeed. That's why he's giving him so many opportunities. And I can understand that, man. Dan Arnold is a good tight end. And I don't know if he's gonna end up making a team. I don't know if the Saints going to end up getting him, but he's going to end up on somebody's team, and he's going to end up being something really, really special. I just think that he's probably still got some of that thought about the NFC Championship game where he dropped that pass in the back of the end zone on the third down. But you need to let that go, man, because you're going to end up losing your spot, messing around, with your past demons. So I think that Sean Payton has given him tonight so many opportunities to perform, and he stepped up to the plate, man. I was really impressed. And I was also impressed with Derby. Derby, even though that catch was ruled an incompletion, I think that was just that showed a lot of hustle by him. And he caught some very tough catches tonight. So I was impressed by the tight ends, man. I was impressed. Still looking for Alizé Mack though. This was his first game. But he really didn't do anything. So I don't know. But he's gonna probably end up on the practice squad. I don't see the Saints giving up on Alizé Mack. I think they're gonna end up keeping him. Let's see. I'm confused. Refs love screwing the Saints. Man, I don't know if it was just about screwing the Saints this game, but they just threw too many flags, man. You just gotta let them play. Like I understand, like in a regular season, they're not gonna throw these many flags, so maybe they just trying to try things out and make sure that they're actually getting looks about who's holding, who's got the illegal contact, who is going to have the pass interference. Like I understand they looking around and trying to see, but that was just absolutely ridiculous, man. Like all those flags. I mean, that just prolonged the game, man. Like that game seemed like it went on forever. And honestly, man, people ain't checking for no preseason like that, man. People ready to go home. They want to see some of their favorite players, like when the players on the side with their hat back, they won't wave at them and say, hey, Drew Brees, hey, Alvin Kamara, hey, Michael Thomas, and then go home. Like keeping this game going on this long, man, which is absolutely ridiculous, man. The NFL need to do something about that because it's not just in a Saints game. It's been all over, man. They've been doing all this crazy stuff. So let's see. Baraka says Breeze looked good and Thomas. Oh man, that connection was off the chains. I just think that if they probably had like a 3 and out or something like that, you probably would have seen Drew Brees. But you just have to end up on a high note, man. You got to end on a high note. I'm a big Jerry Seinfeld fan, and they had an episode where George Costanza, the little short guy with the glasses, he was leaving a room on a high note. He'll crack a joke and everybody will laugh, and he'll just grab his coat and walk out the door. That's what the Saints did. Like basically they ended on a high note. And Drew Brees was like, ain't nothing more to see. Sean Payton was like, ain't nothing more to see. Let me go sit on the sideline and eat these David sunflower seeds. And I like it, man. Anytime, you can go out there and execute and just go sit down and get that rest, man, without taking any type of punishment, I'm all for it, man. That first team, that was a great drive. Absolutely great drive. Let's see. Wyatt BDV says the quarterback competition between Hill and Bridgewater is still even. Week 1 was Teddy, and he played good, and Taysom didn't. Week 2, Taysom played good, and Teddy didn't. Week 3, both played pretty good. Oh man, look, Teddy Bridgewater is gonna be Drew Brees' backup. Look, I know I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I understand everybody like Taysom Hill. I like Taysom Hill, but you're not going to pay a guy what he paid him, man. He paid him a good bit of money for him to sit on that bench to be behind Drew Brees. Now, if knock on wood, and I hope this don't happen, but if something was to happen to Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater would be the backup. And who knows, if Teddy Bridgewater stink it up, then Taysom Hill probably will start. But I'm just happy we got number 9. Man, let's just put that debate to bed. You know what I'm saying? when Drew Brees decided to hang up the cleats, that'll be a conversation for another day. But can we appreciate how great our quarterback looked on the opening drive? And we can go back to talking about this debate, when Drew Brees is, on the beach somewhere with Brittany and his children, sipping on Mai Tais and reminiscing about the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And I said Super Bowls because I'm optimistic this season. All right, so let's see. Trying to make sure I answer everybody's questions. I don't want to forget anybody. Let's see. What made you become a YouTuber? Honestly, I'm not I don't really consider myself a YouTuber. Well, first off, I always love broadcasting, man. Like, I'll tell you that right there. Okay. I went to college, I majored in communication and broadcasting. But what made me fall in love was I told this story before. WWL radio, man. When I was growing up, the Saints weren't good. And we used to have these games blacked out in New Orleans. And the only way that you can watch the Saints game was, the only way you can see the Saints game, you had to listen to it on the radio. And Jim Henderson, man, probably one of my biggest heroes. Like, I used to listen to him all the time. And it was just all the enthusiasm that he had, and the heartbreak that he felt every time the Saints lost. And I just fell in love with that, man. And as I got older, I just started loving broadcasting. I just think that sports talk is just everything, man. It's just the dialogue, the passion that fans have for their teams, the passion that some of these sports talk guys have, and being able to talk to these fans that are passionate about these teams and debate them. I was always interested in. And I work at a radio station now. I'm a nighttime DJ Monday through Friday here in South Carolina. And I just love talking about the Saints. To be honest with you, I'm just passionate about the team. So that's one of the reasons why I end up, getting on YouTube. But I guess in a way I'm a YouTuber, but I like to just consider myself like a broadcaster, man, and somebody that's, passionate about what they do. What y'all see right now, just a guy that's really passionate about his team. It is what it is. I'm not around here, trying to do anything for shock value. I give you exactly how I feel about the team, and I lay it all on the line every time I do a video, and I hope that you all appreciate it, what I do, but because I really appreciate you all, stopping by and really, encouraging me and, telling me that, that you enjoy the show, because that's the important thing to me, not so much about, being a shock jock or whatever like that. I just want to give you all good content and give you all some laughs and, answer some questions and also, see how you feel about it. So thank you very much. You say you're a Seattle Seahawks fan. I'm looking forward to the Saints playing the Seahawks this season. That'll be a good game. Let's see. This is Wyatt, and he says, we tried to go to Popeyes the other day. Okay. I don't know if that was for me. I don't know if you're telling. Okay. Let's see. This is from Wine. You sure you don't want Taysom as the backup quarterback? Think about this. We trade Teddy to the Colts for a high draft pick and let Hill blossom even more in our system. Wine, that's some very, very wishful thinking right there, man. Look, I don't know what the Colts would be willing. I don't know, man. Look, I don't think Jacoby Brissett is a bad quarterback. And to be honest with you, he probably the best thing for the Colts right now, because if you were to get Teddy Bridgewater, you would have to teach him Frank Reich's system, and he would have to develop, and it's probably going to take some time. So I don't see that happening. And honestly, Teddy Bridgewater hasn't done anything to have any trade value. I mean, he's been so up and down, it's to a point where people kind of, think that he's a little bit of a bust. Like the thing about it is, he was red hot last season, like playing for the Jets and going out there and performing at a high level, and they weren't going to keep him because, they didn't want anybody to hinder the growth of Sam Darnold. So, they weren't going to keep him. But he just played really well, and the Saints decided to trade for him. But as time went on, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, his stock dropped. Between like that Week 17 game against the Carolina Panthers, even though that we knew what that game was all about, but the national media, they don't know that the Saints went out there and got two offensive linemen off the street. They just know that Teddy Bridgewater had an opportunity to start for the first time in 2 years, and he laid an egg. So I don't even know if he got any trade value, Wine. I really don't. I think that they're good with Jacoby Brissett. And, if they go out there and they just so happen to stink, like they'll just end up getting like a first round pick, a first pick overall. Just like they got Andrew Luck, they can probably go out there and get themselves a quarterback, one of those quarterbacks that's still in college, like the guy out of Oregon, or maybe Tua Tagovailoa. Like maybe they'll get somebody like that. But I would still roll with Jacoby Brissett, man. I mean, this guy's been in that system for about 3 years now, so he understands. Well, 2 years with Frank Wright, so I think he understands the system enough. And I like Jacoby Brissett, man. Bill Belichick was really high on the guy, really kind of coached him up and just enough for him to play for the Colts. And he had some good games. It was just the fact that the Colts defense was really horrible. The offensive line needed work. So it wasn't all his fault, that he wasn't out there really winning any games for him. I mean, they were just a team that was struggling when Andrew Luck was out there for that whole season. So I don't think that you're going to get anything for Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think no phone is going to ring asking for the services of a Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think the Colts going to do that. I don't think the owner, Jim Irsay, has Teddy Bridgewater in mind at all. I really don't. Brandon Reese says, "What up, TJ? What's going on, Brandon?" He says, "I know it's early, but what position do you expect to step up this year, and how many games will we win?" Brandon, that's a good question. I don't want to jinx the team, man. I really don't. Like, I'm superstitious, okay? Because I feel like by telling people, "Oh man, my team gonna go 11-5, or they gonna go 12-4," like I feel like I be jinxing them, man. So I don't know, man. Like I said that I was gonna do a show where I break down every game and what I see, but I'm superstitious, man. So I'm not gonna say what I think their record is gonna be, but I will say this: what position that I feel like is going to step up. I hope the secondary, man. I hope the secondary step up because it's been they have been the Achilles heel of this team for so long, man. Like I just want them to step up. I like when I seen out of Lattimore tonight. I seen a guy that was hungry, man, ripping that ball out of Ty Montgomery's hand like that. Man, that's what you want to see, man. I want to see some opportunistic, defensive players. That's what I want to see. I want to see some guys go out in front of route. I want to see some guys forcing some turnovers. I mean, line. We're going to get Alex Anzalone back when the season starts, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to be all right. But I'm just interested to see in the secondary because they have always been this problem, man. Hopefully they can click together. This is their third year, that they really played together, So I want to see these guys go out there and perform. That's the position I'm looking forward to. The receiver position, as long as Drew Brees, the quarterback, this guy can make any mediocre receiver, he can make them look like $1 million. So that's not a concern to me. Running back position, I like Latavius Murray. I like Alvin Kamara. And I think Devine Ozigbo is probably going to be that third guy because of his pass catching ability. So I'm interested to see what the secondary is going to do. But thank you, Brandon. What receivers you think making it? Right now, of course, Michael Thomas. That's a no-brainer. Traquan Smith would be number 2. Ted Ginn would be number 3. Key Kirkwood would be number 4. Emmanuel Butler would be number 5. And if I had a choice, it probably would be that's a tough one. Semi Cobb at number 6. I think that those other guys like Cyril Grayson, he's inconsistent. Devontae Harris, I think, he's technically a receiver, but he's more of a kick returner. So I think those are the guys that the Saints are going to have. They usually always carry like between 5 and 6 receivers a year. So those are the 6 I think are going to be a part of the rotation. The Invictus Samaritan said this stream could have started an hour ago, but 31 flags. Yes, man. Like that was just way too many flags. Absolutely, man. I agree with you. 8 Ward Zach. He says fighting for last piece remind me of the chicken episode of the Boondocks. Oh man, I don't understand it though, man. You know, like I don't know, like I guess everybody just love fried chicken, man. Everybody like these chicken sandwiches. Everybody going crazy over them. Like I said, man, I'm just waiting for the lines to die down. I ain't no need to be throwing no bowls for no chicken. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to fight for no chicken sandwich. It don't get that serious, man. It don't. I can wait. You know what I'm saying? I can wait. You know, to see how it tastes. You know, when all this social media viral stuff go down. You know, like after it dies down, then I go get me a sandwich. The game went on forever. Yep. Flags were aggravating me. Me too, man. It was hard to watch the game. It was hard. You know, I mean, I kind of just evaluated what, looked at my notes and I was like, man, it's boring. And honestly, you know, like around the 7-minute mark, like right after Devontae Harris returned it, you know, for a touchdown when the Saints got that the ball back again after the Jets drained out. I mean, it was basically over around the 7-minute mark. So I was just getting ready and prepared to do this, you know. All right, so let's see. Like I said, I don't want to forget anybody. Invictus says, do you think Drew Brees will make the final roster? Oh man, stop trolling, man. Do I think he's gonna make the final roster, man? But I can't, man. I can't even answer that question, man. I think we all know the answer to that. Yeah, the game is, man. Honestly, man, preseason this year has been boring because the teams have not been playing their starters, and I think that's a very dangerous thing. And the reason I tell you this is because they're about to, have like the meeting with the CBA. And CBA stands for collective bargaining agreement. And this is when they break down the rules, what they give the players when it comes to contracts. This is this is the only time, you know what I'm saying, players can actually negotiate, because after the CBA is finalized, I think it lasted between like 7 to 10 years or something like that. But this is giving owners leeway to say that we need to have more regular season games, which they've been wanting. And by having more regular season games, that's only going to allow them to have 2 preseason games. And this is giving them justification, because now owners can say, well, we can't charge people, you know what I'm saying? We already like charging people half of what the ticket prices is in the regular season. We're already charging half price for the parking and stuff like that. And now when people show up to the games, we're not seeing any of their favorite players. So we're actually losing money, because people are now sitting at home and saying, I'd rather just watch them on TV, because I'm not going to see Drew Brees, or I'm not going to see Michael Thomas. You know, these guys are not going to play. So that's going to give the owners leverage to say, hey, man, you know, this is the reason why we've been wanting these more games, because, you know, we're losing money because you guys don't want to play your players. You know, I'm talking about the coaches, you know. So I think that these guys are, you know, making a big mistake, a huge mistake by not playing these players, because it's giving the owners leverage, man. And an ownership already have too much leverage over the players, man. I mean, we see some of these bogus contracts these players getting. We see some of these rookie deals, you know what I'm saying? These guys are getting screwed over. So, I mean, you don't want to give them justification for feeling the way that they do, man. You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So I think that next season, I understand you don't want to get guys hurt, but man, you got to play these guys in preseason. Having these guys sit down and stuff like that, you know, that's dangerous. You know, I understand it, but you know, that's going to end up hurting them in the long run. I mean, we going to benefit, you know what I'm saying, because it's going to be longer seasons and it's more football, but those guys are going to, you know, pay the price, because there's more wear and tear on their bodies. So that's something they might want to keep in mind. Let's see. Um, let's see. Invictus says Bridgewater is a backup, period. Highest paid backup in the league. If you watch the game, you will know that 6 for 11 incompletions were terrible drops. But yeah, I love Breeze to death. Look, man, Teddy Bridgewater played good tonight. Taysom Hill played good tonight. You know, I think they Bridgewater bounced back. I mean, they said he was sick last week. I don't know what that has to do with anything. But I think he looked good, man. He even was rolling out of the pocket and stuff like that, man. Which I don't know, man. It's just something about Teddy. I think Teddy is just still a little nervous about the injury he have. I don't think he really too much trusts his body. I think he. I don't know, man. It just a certain swag that you look for in a quarterback. Like even like when I be watching, like I mean, I guess you don't supposed to put too much stock in this, but I'll be watching these QB challenges on the New Orleans Saints website. And it just seems like, like he just doing it, just to be doing it. I mean, it don't seem like there's no type of competition, no type of competitiveness inside of him, man. It just seems like he just be doing it. Like I was just seeing like they did like this home run derby drill or whatever like that competition, and it just seemed like he just knew he wasn't gonna hit the ball, and that was okay with him. But look, man, I don't want to see guys like that. Last time I seen a quarterback act like that, his name was Aaron Brooks. And I don't think I need to tell y'all what happened with him. I miss Jim Henderson. Yeah, me too, man. Zach Strief is doing an okay job. I think he's getting better, but there's nobody like Jim Henderson, man. I miss him. Over 30 years, man, as the Saints play-by-play, man. But I mean, it's well-deserved, man. It's a well-deserved retirement, man. But, man, he's the reason why you guys are listening to me today. I mean, he is my hero. I mean, I never met him before in my life. And, that's probably one of the people that I would love to meet. Unfortunately, one of my heroes is going Walter Cronkite. A guy who I wish I could meet is Dan Rather. He's one of my heroes as well. And Jim Henderson, I mean, I know y'all probably like, man, that's some hero list, but I just love radio, man. I love broadcasting. Broadcasting is the one thing in life I feel like that will help you live forever. I mean, it's just the truth, man. Like, I'm doing this right now. Y'all listening, to me, y'all watching this video. My great grandkids can pull this up and be like, man, that's my great grandfather right there. Some of the content I did from podcasting and stuff like that, I have a 3-month-old son. He's too young to, know what I'm doing right now. He can go back and listen and be like, yeah, that's my dad. When I'm long gone, like people can still hear me. It's the one job where you can live forever. And that's one of the reasons I love doing it as well, man. Real talk. Let's see. Yeah, hit that like button. Yeah, please hit that like button. I appreciate that. And also subscribe if you haven't already, man. We're close, man. We're very, very close to 2,000 subscribers, man. 2,000 subscribers. And this is what I'm gonna do, okay? This is what I'm gonna do. And I apologize. I apologize to the people that's already subscribed, okay? But I'll do it this way. All right. If we can get 2,000 subscribers by week 1 of the regular season, I would choose one of the subscribers and I will give you a free State of the Saints podcast t-shirt. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll send you a free State of the Saints podcast t-shirt. If we can get 2,000 subscribers by the regular season, week 1, I will select a subscriber, okay? And look, this is the rules, okay? Because I want to make sure that I'm sending it to somebody. It's going to be somebody that when I watch videos and I go down to the comments, it's going to be somebody that I know is a true subscriber. Because, sometimes you got people be ghosts, and I don't want to be, trying to reach out to ghosts. It's going to be somebody that I know that constantly comments, somebody that I know that constantly, looks at the videos and interacts. So I know that the person is real. So if we can get 2,000 subscribers, I will select a person and they will get a free State of the Saints podcast t-shirt, courtesy of yours truly. Okay. I mean, that may not sound like much, but hey, that's all I got, you know. All right. So let's see. What's up, man? Glad your show is live. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, PJ. I appreciate that, man. Manny, do you think trading Mark Ingram was a good call for us? Actually, we didn't trade Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram was an unrestricted free agent, and his agent told him not to answer the phone when Sean Payton was calling, and he thought that would be leverage for him, and it backfired on him. And because of that, Sean Payton go out there and get Latavius Murray. I mean, if you want to blame somebody, you blame his agent. His agent is the reason why he's not in New Orleans. And then the crazy thing about it is, he would have ended up getting around the same amount that he would have gotten Baltimore with the Saints. So I'm like, you basically packed up your family and moved them to Baltimore for absolutely nothing, man. But I wish Mark Ingram the best, man. Mark Ingram, I mean, his presence on the team is going to be truly missed. I mean, it was tough at the beginning of his career. I mean, he used to frustrate a lot of Saints fans, but it seemed like the lights started to come on, you know, the last 3 or 4 seasons. So he's going to be missed, man. I think the Baltimore Ravens got something special with Mark Ingram. And I think now that he's going to be the bell cow back for the Baltimore Ravens, I think you're really going to see Mark Ingram, you know, rise to the occasion, man. He got a chip on his shoulder right now. And we all know that angry Mark Ingram is something that you don't want to mess with, man. You know, anytime Mark Ingram messes up or he fumbles the football or he gets benched, he comes back the next week, he runs for almost 200 yards. So now he's motivated, man, because he probably feel like the New Orleans Saints didn't do everything in their power to keep him around. And now he has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, that's not the case. He just needs to blame his agent. But anything that you need in order to motivate yourself, I think that Mark Ingram is going to be a force to be reckoned with, man, in the AFC North. Teddy B and Taysom Hill went off. Taysom Hill will be a fire starter during 4th down plays and special teams during the playoffs and 1-score games. Also, Teddy B was snipping wide receiver. So, what do you mean like snipping? Or do you mean like he was like overthrowing them or something like that? I mean, but back, I don't know about the 4th down plays and all that kind of stuff. I think that, you know, you probably going to see him more heavily involved in the offense. I think that Sean Payton is probably going to expand the playbook and have different packages for Taysom Hill. But 4th down, man, look, look, if the game on the line is 4th down, there's only one person on the Saints team I want with the football in his hand. That's Drew Brees, like for real, like. That's the person I won't count on. Forget all the trickery and stuff like that. 1st and 2nd down, you want to put Taysom Hill in? Cool. 4th down with the game on the line, man, put Drew Brees in the game, please. I'm sorry, man. I like Taysom Hill, but, man, put Drew in the game, please. Let's see. Manny, I talked a little bit about the Andrew Luck announcement. I kind of talked about that already. But I just would say, man, it was shocking. You know, it was shocking, man. And to know that that Andrew Luck retired. I wish him the best, though, man. I mean, some of the things that were said, like he was just burnt out. Like, that's sad. You know, you think about it, man. I mean, you work your whole life to be in the National Football League, and then you start to be injured every single year and ending up, and, you know, and retiring not on your own terms. Like, I know that got to be devastating for him. Hopefully the secondary goes back to the 2013 season when they were ranked 2nd in pass defense. That come from Brandon. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. But I will say this. I will say this about that team. I mean, you had some leadership. I know Roman Harper. I mean, he was a liability in coverage. And I know Malcolm Jenkins wasn't the Malcolm Jenkins that he is in Philadelphia. I mean, this guy couldn't tackle worth a damn. Excuse my French, but he's not the guy that he is now. But For the most part, they just had a good collection of guys that really tried hard and were really hungry. You know what I'm saying? So, and they wanted to be better, and they were, they rallied around each other. So I think, but me personally, I just feel like the Saints have an opportunity to have the best team they ever had. Me personally, I feel like the team that they had last year was the best team that they ever had. Okay, I know they won a Super Bowl back in '09, and I guess the team that wins the Super Bowl is the best team they ever had. But I'm talking about as far as talent is concerned. I think they probably had a collection of talent. I think they probably had the best team that they ever had in franchise history last year. That's just my opinion. Like I really feel that way. Let's see. Chick-fil-A is better, y'all. Can fight me. And honestly, that can be a marketing ploy. Well, it worked. I'll tell you that. If it is a marketing ploy, it worked because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I seen people going crazy for chicken, I went to the stock market. Hey, and I had a really good day. So thank y'all for everybody that bought that Popeye chicken. You know what I'm saying? I invested in that real quick. Okay. And for those that know about the stock market, look, buy low and sell high. Okay. All right. So let's see. Ice Cream Man. Man, I watched that video, Ice Cream Man. Good job, man. I enjoyed it. I checked it out, man. I checked it out. I got a video. Hey, man, y'all go check out Ice Cream Man. Oh yeah, Ice Cream Man 504. All right, y'all check out Ice Cream Man 504. Subscribe to his channel, man. He does some good videos, man. You know what I'm saying? Good solid brother, man. So y'all support him as well. Tay says Sean Payton was asked about Jared Cook's status, and he says, we'll see. Sean Payton don't never talk about injuries, man. He don't talk about that. Okay, like that's just not him. Like probably nothing is wrong with Jared Cook. No, he probably just told him not to play. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's no injuries or anything like that because I think we would have had like some type of speculation or somebody would have reported. I just don't feel like he probably just wanted him to play. And honestly, Jared Cook doesn't need to play. I mean, you kind of know what he is already. I mean, this guy's probably in his 9th, 10th season. You want to see what some of these young tight ends can do. I don't even think we've seen that much Josh Hill in a game. So I think you want to see and evaluate some of this young talent that you have, man. You want to see some of these other guys, man, like Griffin, who went down in the game. Dan Arnold, Darby, Derby. You know what I'm saying? You want to see Alizé Mack. You want to see what some of these other guys can do. So you can make sure that you have the right 53 on your team. So it would have been good to see Jared Cook out there, but I'm not too upset about that, man. As long as he can be ready by week 1, I'm straight. Does Tom Brady have swag? Because he reminds me of that boring white dad. Man, look, he got rings though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess that's the most important thing. Is he the coolest guy in the world? Absolutely not. But he is the most accomplished quarterback in NFL history. So you can't take that away from him. Statistically, it's Drew Brees, but accomplishments, you got to get that to Tom Brady, man. So these guys have been great to watch over the years. We'll never get like what we seen again. You know what I'm saying? Good, like you're gonna have good quarterback play, man, but it's just something special about watching people like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Tom Brady over the years. It's really, really special, man. Jared Cook is injured somehow. Sean Payton won't say. Yeah, Sean Payton don't talk about injuries. Bill Parcells, Bill Parcells was the same way, and we know that Sean Payton is a Bill Parcells disciple. Tay said, I sub. Thank you very much. Donald James, thank you very much for subbing to the channel. I really do appreciate that. And I'm not just saying that. I know people give you lip service, but I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. You guys could choose so many other channels to choose from. There's several other people talking about the New Orleans Saints, and I'm really appreciative. So thank y'all so much. Man, that's humbling, like really. Let's see. I'm gonna need that with a signature on the front. All right, man. maybe you'll be that winner. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you'll be that winner, Drew Brees. And if you look, if it was Drew Brees for real, like you can have it. You know what I'm saying? You can have the shirt I had on. I sign this. Okay, man. But yeah, I am gonna pick somebody, man. 2,000. If we have 2,000 subscribers by week 1, like I said, I'm gonna select somebody, and it's gonna be somebody that I see, commenting and stuff like that. But let's see. Tay says, Mike showed why we paid him tonight with those with just 2 catches. Now, I know people will never come out and say it. People will never come out and say, "Oh, I was that person. I was that person that said he didn't deserve his money. Oh, I was that person that said that, he didn't deserve all that money." They will never say that. Okay? But you said that. Like we don't have to go out here and say, "Oh, such and such said this." No, you said that. Okay? So just know that you were wrong. All right. You can go back and delete it, and it can and we won't see it anymore, but you said it. And there were a lot of people that were arguing about Michael Thomas getting that money. But is he a Julio Jones? Is he an Antonio Brown? No, he's not. He's not. But what he is a guy that if you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. Okay, he's a crisp route runner, and he elevates his game every single year. So for all those people out there that saying that man didn't deserve his money, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. and they know who they are, man, but they'll never say it, man. They'll never admit it. One thing about me, if I'm wrong about a player, I say I'm wrong. I'll be like, man, you know what? I was wrong about what I said. I'm sorry. I eat crow, but I don't understand it, man. Like if you say something about Michael Thomas, I feel like you need to apologize. That's just like when I have a good friend of mine, Brandon Thompson, man. Shouts out to Brandon. He's a Giants fan also. And I cracked the joke about Daniel Jones, the six pick in the draft that they got out of Duke. And they showed his first pass in training camp, and he threw it out of bounds. And I cracked the joke with him. I said, this your future right here. And, the first game, Daniel Jones went out there, he been lighting it up. And, I had to apologize. I was like, man, dude might end up being the truth. It is preseason, but for all the scrutiny this dude and got, and for him to go out there and play like that, like I eat crow, he looked good to me. So I had to suck it up. Let's see. I think Jared Cook is going to have a big impact on the offense this year. Yeah, it's been a while since the Saints had a pass catching tight end, that Drew Brees can really truly rely on. It's been a while. It's been like since Jimmy Graham been here. I'm not saying that Josh Hill and all these other guys, at the tight end position haven't done a okay job, but to have a pass catching tight end that can get yards after the catch and can be a matchup nightmare. Yeah, it's been a while since we had one of those. Harper is why we lost to the 49ers. He got beat by Vernon Davis hard on that last play. Man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna blame the guy who was the defensive coordinator of the Jets, Greg Williams, because there was nowhere in the world in that divisional round game against the 49ers he should have been blitzing like that. He should have been playing like prevent. They had to march the length of the field basically, and and he's still blitzing. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. The Saints should have won that game, and it was crazy. Like the stars were aligned too, because if the Saints would have won that game, the NFC Championship game would have been in New Orleans, and you never know what would have happened. We probably wouldn't have had the bogus 9 call that we had last season. The Saints probably will end up trying to get their 3rd championship. So man, like I don't want to blame Harper on that, man. Vernon Davis, that guy was good, man. I think he still plays for the Redskins, but that guy was good, man, for the 49ers. He wasn't nothing to sneeze at. And then you have to think about it. When this dude came out of college, out of University of Maryland, he ran like a 4 or 4-3 or something like that. Dude was a beast. So ain't nothing wrong with losing, Vernon Davis. And we all know, come on, man. Roman Harper wasn't going to change his stripes. Dude always been a liability in the secondary. That's why, Greg Williams used to have him coming on the blitzes. That's one. I think 1 year, I think he led the team in sacks. I think he had like 6 sacks or something like that one season. He led the Saints in sacks. I mean, he was a good tackler, but couldn't cover with a bed sheet. Let's see. Do you think Colts should trade for Teddy Bridgewater? I think they should, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. I just think that Teddy Bridgewater kind of lost his stock the way he's been playing preseason games. I think he really did, man. Our defense is going to be something serious this year. I hope so, Jamarcus. I hope so. Where do you rank Drew Brees among all-time great quarterbacks? I think he's top 3. I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to say he top 3. I'm not. I say he top 5. My top 3 would be Manning, Brady, Montana. Okay, that's like my 3, and then you can throw Drew Brees in there. Okay, and the 5th, I'll probably say like Brett Favre. Like I guess like Brett Favre. For all I would say Brett Favre because of everything that he accomplished. Like being an Iron Man that he was. Yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions, but I mean the guy was just tough as hell. So I would put him in the top 5. So that but it's hard like to go against Montana, Manning, and Brady. Like that's I would say Drew Brees is number 4. Anybody that wouldn't say that Drew Brees is number 4 just, a hater, in my opinion. I mean, dude is the all-time leading passer. I don't care how many times, Sean Payton called a passing play. He still have to connect with his receivers in order for him to get the record. And he leads the league in completion percentage every single year. And he's the all-time leader in completions. I don't care who you are. Once again, you got to be something special in order for you to connect with those receivers and get those yards. So anybody that just hating on Drew Brees, they just mad that he plays in a smaller market, and they just don't want to give him his respect, which the national media never does. Andrew Luck unretires in a couple of years when he's healthy and he signs with us. Calling it now. Man, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why I don't feel like that's going to happen is because I guess you would have to, okay, I'll put it like this. You would have to see what the Indianapolis Colts do, because even though he retires, if he unretires, they still own his rights. So if he does retire, and let's just say, for example, they have a good quarterback and they're going forward with him, and he decides to come out of retirement, they can actually trade him and get some value for him. So if the Saints, let's just say, for example, if they have like a pick or something like that, they can hit up Jim Irsay and say, hey, we want to get Andrew Luck. What would it take for him? So they still own his rights, even if he is retired. If he comes back, he still has to play for the Colts. And I mean, he just signed like a big deal like a couple years ago. So I mean, he's still under contract for at least 4 more years. Even when he comes back, he still is a Colt. Let's see. My takeaway from tonight is Drew Brees does not look like a quarterback who is retiring soon. Our starting O-line is one of the best in the league. Marshawn is a bad man. And also Harris won the returning spot. I mean, I think Harris already had that locked up anyway. Drew Brees, like I said, I understand, but that he is playing at a high level. But if the Saints end up going to the Super Bowl, do you really believe that Drew Brees is going to come back for another season, or you think he's going to retire on a high note? And to be honest with you, you want to leave a positive taste in the mouths of the fan base. Like, you don't want people to be happy to see you get here and happy to see you leave. Like, so if he is playing at an elite level, it's probably best for him to retire. Because you want people, to remember you at your apex. You know what I'm saying? At your highest level. You don't want people to be like, oh man, he was good at first, but then he started like falling off a cliff. So if he is playing at a high level this season, you want to if they go and win the Super Bowl, I would retire. I mean, you want people to be asking like, man, is he gonna unretire? Is he gonna unretire? You don't want to be like, oh yeah, he retired, man. He need to stay that way. I don't want to see Drew Brees go out like that. I want to see him retire on a high note. You know what I'm saying? Well, we can be, comparing him to the all-time greats and hoping, if something goes wrong, knock on wood, that man, can we call Drew Brees back one more season? How many rings do you think Drew should have by now? Um, Honestly, 3. Okay, I think they should have had one last year, and I think they should have had one because they should have beat the 49ers. And I feel like that game they had at home in the NFC Championship game, I think they would have ended up winning. I think they would have beat the Giants. I mean, that's the way I feel. I feel like they would have beat the New York Giants. I understand that Eli Manning is a whole different type of dude, like in the playoffs, but I feel like the Saints would have beat him. I mean, that's just a fact. So yeah, I think he should have 3. I'm not gonna say 4 because that whole Minnesota Miracle thing, because I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they were kind of destined that year they won the Super Bowl. So that probably would have been tough. Now the Saints wouldn't have got blew out or nothing like that. They weren't blowing out the Saints like they did the Minnesota Vikings, because we all can agree that Drew Brees is not Case Keenum. But I do feel like the Eagles probably would have, end up winning that game somehow, maybe a field goal or something like that. Vernon Davis broke my heart in that game, along with Marshawn Lynch and Goodell, and the list goes on. Yeah, that Marshawn Lynch run, that's the greatest run of all time. I know I can't even watch that run. Like, honestly, I can't even watch that run. But it is the greatest run of all time. Like, you can't dispute that. I mean, the way that guy just ran that football, man, and put Tracy Ford out the way like he was a 4-year-old child. Like, you just hate that it happened to your team, man. But it was the greatest run of all time. Dan Marino is in the discussion too, as well as Steve Young. I would say that Dan Marino is around 7 or 8, and we all know why. Dan Marino put up a lot of yards, but man, that Super Bowl, man, that means a lot. I mean, that means a lot. Like he was great. Statistically, he'll be an all-time great, but he never won no Super Bowl. So and I feel like that kind of, the reason why he kind of get lost. Okay, I mean, he was a great quarterback, but you got to put people like Elway in front of him. I mean, you got to put people like Roethlisberger in front of him. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to put Troy Aikman in front of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you got to think about those type of guys. I'm not saying Super Bowls are everything, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to evaluating, but people do look at that. People look at accomplished quarterbacks before they start looking at guys who didn't win a Super Bowl but threw a whole bunch of yards. I'll give you an example, right? Quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, Ken Anderson back in the days. Ken Anderson was a good quarterback. Just didn't win no Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he should be in the Hall of Fame, but he not in the Hall of Fame because they ain't win no Super Bowls. But the Cincinnati Bengals was really good during that time, man. They was going to the Super Bowl. They were just getting blown out. So I feel like I'm not comparing Dan Marino to Ken Anderson, but I'm just saying, like, there's certain perks that you get when you win championships. Okay, I mean, I think we wouldn't even, like, a lot of people wouldn't even be talking about Drew Brees being, I mean, we would, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think people would be giving this man any respect at all if he didn't win no Super Bowl. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad Drew Brees got at least one Super Bowl, because now they got to acknowledge the man as a champion. Okay, and they got to take that to consideration, because I feel like if he didn't win that Super Bowl, they really wouldn't be talking about it. They'd really be throwing him under the bus. Mike has everything that you can ever want in a receiver besides elite speed. He runs a 4.6, but guess who else ran a 4.6? Just some guy named Jerry Rice. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something, and this is how I will always feel. You know, I will take a technique receiver over a speedy receiver any day. Like I would take a guy who can run the route tree over a guy that just has blazing speed that can catch the ball. Because guess what? Your speed is going to diminish as you get older. I mean, you're going to have wear and tear on your bodies, and eventually you ain't going to be able to get behind that corner anymore. And you're going to have to rely on being savvy. I mean, ask Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, it was one time, man, he can get behind a receiver, I mean, a cornerback and catch the ball and, but eventually, like, he started getting older. And Bruce Arians, who we all know is the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, decided to put him in a slot. He didn't like it, but he ended up doing it. And he ended up, like, thriving in a slot because he was a great route runner. Route runners will have you playing in the league forever. You'll basically, let the league know when you're going to retire. Speedy guys, that's fun to watch. Guys like Brandon Cooks and all that kind of stuff. But guess what, man? Those guys got a shelf life, and it's not very long. But the guys that can run routes really good, probably not that fast, but can find ways to get open. Those guys last forever. T.O. wasn't fast. Marvin Harrison wasn't fast. Like you said, Jerry Rice wasn't fast, but those guys had great technique. Those guys can run crisp routes, and they find ways to get open. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, man. Definitely. Phillip Rivers is a prime example of being elite with no rings. Carson Palmer, too. You can even argue Donovan McNabb. Okay, all of those guys are second tier elite. Okay, that's the second tier elite. You know what I'm saying? I like I like Marvel comic universe movies. Okay, I like Marvel movies. Okay, the first wave. You got your Iron Man, you got your Thor, you got your Captain America, you got your Incredible Hulk. Okay, that's like the first tier of Avengers. Okay, and then you got the second wave. You got the Black Panther. You got Spider-Man. You got Vision. You know what I'm saying? That's your Phillip Rivers. Okay, that's your Carson Palmers and your Donovan McNabbs. Those are those type of guys. Okay, the first tier are the championship guys. Okay, I just feel like that. No, you know what I'm saying? No, there are exceptions to the rule. I would not put a Joe Flacco up in that thing. I will not put a Trent Dilfer up in that thing. You know what I'm saying? Just because they won championships. But those guys are like second level quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about the greats, those guys are probably down at the bottom in the 15s and the 20s. Phillip Rivers is emerging, as being elite. He's not in the top 10, but he's probably like around 12 or 13. I'll give him that, man. Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback. I just don't feel like he gets his respect because I think that Marty Scheinheimer, the former head coach of the Chargers, kind of, is responsible for that because they had all those great 13-3, 12-4 seasons, but couldn't get over the hump. So I feel like that kind of hurt Phillip. And I just feel like as time draws near, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I feel like they had a great chance last season, but I mean, the stars weren't aligned for them. They end up having to go to Foxborough and play the New England Patriots, and that really hurt them. Let's see. I would like to see the Saints and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Who would you want to see the Saints play? Me personally, I think the Chiefs would be a good matchup. Before Andrew Luck retired, I would have thought it would have been the Colts because they had a good young defense. They were emerging. Who Would I want to see them play the New England Patriots? Probably. I would like to see them play the New England Patriots. I'd like to see Tom Brady against Drew Brees on a big stage. And I think a lot of people want to see that. But I think people have Patriot fatigue. People tired of seeing them boys in the Super Bowl. I would like to see. Okay, I just thought about it. If I had a choice, I would like to see the Saints versus the Steelers. I think that'll be a good Super Bowl. Saints versus the Steelers. I read somewhere that you can take away like 6 of Jerry Rice last season, and he still have his records. To me, Jerry Rice is all-time GOAT of the NFL. Yeah, no doubt, man. Jerry Rice was incredible. Jerry Rice was a guy who not a lot of people didn't really believe in, but Bill Walsh drafted him. He came out of Mississippi Valley State, a small college, and I'm familiar with that because I ended up going to Jackson State University, which is not that far from Mississippi Valley, and they were one of our rivals in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, or also known as the SWAC. So I'm familiar with the school. I mean, he came from a small school. Nobody really believed in him. First season that he had, a lot of people thought that Bill Walsh made a mistake. And then after that, his career took off. 20 years in the National Football League, has every statistical record imaginable for a wide receiver. A lot of his records to me ain't never probably going to be broken. I mean, he's definitely the standard for wide receivers. I mean, but the thing about Jerry Rice is, I mean, he tried so hard not to fail that he really didn't enjoy his career. And that's unfortunate. I'll never forget his Hall of Fame speech. He said he wished he could have enjoyed playing football more. He gave his life for football, and his play on the field reflected that. So he's all-time great, man, no doubt. Could you imagine seeing your team up 28-3 in the Super Bowl in the third quarter and losing the game? Must suck to be that team. Man, what team is that? Well, man, look. The Atlanta Falcons, I mean, come on. What are they like? 0-3 in the preseason right now? What Matt Ryan? I mean, he was under duress all night against the Jets last week. I mean, man, look, the Atlanta Falcons, they just got to do something. Like I don't understand. Like I would never understand a Falcon fan. The audacity to try to come at the Saints. I mean, like you said, 28-3 in the Super Bowl. You gave up a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl, biggest game of them all. And yet the Atlanta Falcons that come on a Saints page or talk up to a Saints fan like they just won the Super Bowl last week. I don't get it, man. Like, if I would look, they should be embarrassed, like to even say anything to a Saints fan. They gotta win something. Like, bump all this. Like the only excuse they have, they holding on to that 4-game lead with everything they got. Like for real, like we have a 4-game lead on y'all, 52-48. We got that lead. Man. 2 years. I'm just hoping that the New Orleans Saints sweep them this season and sweep them next season, and they can finally shut up. Because that's the only thing they got. That's the only thing they have. I mean, honestly, that's the only thing they like. If you don't believe me, go back and forth with a Falcon fan. Talk about the Super Bowl. Talk about how they suck. Watch the next thing that come out their mouth. Well, we got the best. We got the all-time record. They acting like it's like Peyton Manning in a AFC South or something like that. He has 11 division titles. If you're a Colts fan and you talking to a Texan fan or something like that, I can understand that. Like, man, we've been beating y'all to sleep. Y'all finally got a division title. Y'all, like stuff like that. But a 4-game lead, like honestly, man, like that's really, dude. Like really, a 4-game lead. That shows how pathetic their fan base is, man. They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing on the Saints. They don't have better fans than we do. I mean, we love our team. We ain't sometiming over here. You know what I'm saying? We love our team with passion. Win, lose, or draw. Saints fan. You're gonna have your Saints hat on, you gonna have your same shirt on, you still gonna be saying who that. I done seen people flip-flop like it ain't nothing being a Falcon fan. So what they talking about, honestly, to me, it just sounds like jealousy. I mean, that's just my opinion. It's like jealousy. I feel like they jealous of the Saints fan base because their fan base is not as passionate about their team as we are. I mean, it's well documented that the New Orleans Saints like have some of the best fans, for a small market team. The Atlanta Falcons, like I said, I never met an Atlanta Falcon fan in my life, like a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. I ain't never met one, ever. I ain't never met a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. I met a convenient Falcon fan. Like, it just so happened that they winning and you conveniently are a fan now, But I ain't never met a true diehard. But I met plenty of diehard Saints fans. I have people always saying, who that from Jersey, who that from New York, who that from Florida, who that from, Portland, Oregon, who that from Colombia. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never seen nobody say rise up from Brazil or rise up from Japan or rise up from France. I ain't never, anybody else ever heard that? I never heard it. I never heard that in my life. Okay. I ain't never heard nobody say I'm a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan ever in my life. Have y'all ever heard anybody say I'm a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan? I ain't never heard it. Never heard those words ever uttered and come out of anybody's mouth. I ain't never heard those words uttered by anybody that they're a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. Let's see. Falcon fans and Carolina fans are insecure and classless. You should see them in some of my NFC South groups on Facebook, always posting stuff like Hurricane Katrina helped us win the ring. That's another thing Atlanta Falcon fans say. That's another thing they say. And look, the next time, this is what I want you to tell Atlanta Falcon fan next time they talk about charity rings, okay? Now, I want you to let them know how stupid that is, okay? I want you to tell them how stupid that is. Now, think about this. In 2006, the Superdome reopened. The Saints went 10-6. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game. I'm going to say that again. 2006, Superdome reopened. The Saints went 10-6. They went all the way to the NFC Championship to take on the Chicago Bears. That was a year after Hurricane Katrina. 4 years later, the Saints win their first Super Bowl. Question: if the Saints Super Bowl was rigged, if the Saints Super Bowl was charity, wouldn't the NFL give them a Super Bowl title in 2006 versus 4 years later in 2009 or 2010? Wouldn't that make more sense? I mean, that goes to show you right there. That goes to show you that they don't know what the hell they talking about. Like that is so ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing that I ever heard. Why wouldn't they just give the Saints the Super Bowl? Why wouldn't they just let them overcome the monsters of the Midway and let them go to the Super Bowl and play against Peyton Manning and Indianapolis Colts? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, they be talking about Katrina. That's all they was talking about. That's because look what the team went through. It was relevant. Oh, everybody was talking about Katrina. Everybody was talking about Katrina. Well, I mean, look what happened to the team. That's what your response needs to be. They went in 2006, a year after Katrina. Why didn't the NFL just let them win the Super Bowl that year? Why did they wait all that time for them to win? Why did they allow the Saints to go 7-9, 8-8, 8-8 before they decide to let the Saints get beat 13-3 and win a Super Bowl? Let them know how crazy that sounds. And also let them know how crazy this sound. Giving up a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. Let them know that. Okay. Let them know how crazy that is. Okay. There ain't nothing more crazier than that. Now, if they talking about something rigged, shit, man, please. Bro, I can't express how excited I am about Von Bell. He is such a freaking stud. Also, Demario Davis is a real deal best free agent pickup since Darren Sharper. Man, that's a name I ain't hit in a long time. I mean, I know that's the name that kind of make people cringe these days, Darren Sharper, but man, he was the truth, man. Had 9 interceptions in that Super Bowl. In that Super Bowl winning season. Demario Davis is definitely one of the best free agent pickups that the Saints ever had. I mean, the guy is just an outstanding human being, man. Like, all in all, great football player, but great human being, man. Him and Josh Norman. I talked about this on the last live screen. Him and Josh Norman went to Flint, Michigan with trucks of with pallets of water in there to give to the people of Flint. Man, this guy's like went like all across the country and around the world doing humanitarian work. So I mean, the dude is outstanding, man, human being. Like, you can always like root for individuals like that, and not to mention he just a leader on the field as well. So I mean, he's really out there performing at a high level, and he's a good asset to the team. I mean, he bounced around the league, man. A lot of the team where he played for the Jets, but they used to kind of just have him in blitz packages and stuff like that. But the Saints really are utilizing him, as that every down lineman, and he has been a great acquisition to the team, no doubt. Panthers fans and Falcon fans always bragging about their quarterbacks winning MVPs, but yet when we bring up our rings, they always talking about us bringing up 10-year-old rings, though. Well, at least we can bring up 10-year-old rings. I mean, how old are they rings? That's what you need to ask them. And he talking about the Falcons and the Panthers are winning MVPs. What they get them? You know what I'm saying? What did they give Cam Newton? What did they get Matt Ryan? Nothing. 2 L's in the Super Bowl. That's what it got them. 2 L's. That's it. Finish this sentence. The Saints make the NFC Championship again if they win the division again, and if they win a divisional round game, because I think they are going to have a first round bye again. So yeah, I think they'll make it to the NFC Championship if they win the division and they win that divisional round game. Don't know who they're going to play because teams get better year after year, and playoff pitchers change year after year. So, did any of our young DBs stand out to you? CJ Gardner-Johnson, that's the guy who stood out for me. He's flying all over the field. He plays with swag, plays with a lot of confidence. I like the young man. He definitely stands out to me. I love how the Bucs aren't even part of the conversation of division rivals. Honestly, I never really considered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as like a fierce rival of the Saints. I mean, not just to disrespect anybody, like I respect everybody. I understand why people cheer, that's your team, you're gonna ride for them. But I never really looked at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like I look at like the Falcons or even like the Carolina Panthers. They are in the same division with the Saints, but I just never really thought of them as like the Saints fierce rivals or nothing like that. I just think that I don't know, man. Until they get rid of Jameis Winston, in my opinion, I don't think they ever gonna be nothing. I understand they got Bruce Arians, the quote unquote quarterback whisperer or whatever, but I just don't think that anybody can save Jameis Winston. I don't think Ayana can fix Jameis Winston's life. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Bruce Arians can fix Jameis Winston's quarterback ability. I mean, I just think what you see is what you get from Jameis Winston, man. Like, I don't think they're going to win anything. I think they need to put Ryan Griffin in, the former Saint, the former Tulane Greenway. Put him in. He looked much better than Jameis Winston. He went 11 for 14 in that game. So I think they might need to look at Ryan Griffin. He might be the answer. He looked real good in preseason. I mean, so should put Ryan Griffin in, see what the Green Wave can do. Let me see. Yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a stud. very Tyrann Matthew-ish player. I don't want to say all that. I don't want to say all that now, I tell you. I don't know about all that. Tyrann Matthew is special, man. But I think that he can be a really good player for the team. And I think he has I think the way the Saints are going to play him, I think they're probably going to have him as a slot corner. I think they have him out there battling with PJ and Patrick Robinson, because honestly, do you really trust any of those guys right now the way they've been playing in preseason? Not me. Let me see. Who do you think is more under pressure to win a championship? Matt Ryan, Cam, or Rivers? Phillip Rivers, no doubt. Phillip Rivers is among the all-time greats, like somebody mentioned earlier. So the championship, not having one, is really destroying the legacy of Phillip Rivers, man. Matt Ryan, I mean, Cam Newton, those, like I said, those guys are like second tier. Like if we talking about second tier, like Phillip Rivers would probably be like, how you have a line, and you know what I'm saying, like, you cross the line, like he's like right at the front of the line, like he next in line. All he have to do is win a championship, and he'll be like among those greats. So I feel like he's the one that needs it more. Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, like guys don't really look at those guys as being all-time greats. They just look at those guys just being good quarterbacks, like the guy said, Ken Anderson earlier. That's kind of how they look at those guys that can win some game, probably sneak up in a Super Bowl somewhere and win one, but nothing special. Like super special. It's funny because they're the only other team in the division with a ring. Yeah, I know, man. They had one first, but they also had a great defense, man. They had a bunch of Hall of Famers on the team: Derrick Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch. Like guys like that, man. So I mean, they had Mike Allstott. I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he the best fullback of all time, in my opinion. I mean, they had some good players on that team, man. And they had the Tampa 2 out there, and they was out there balling. So, but years later, man, they haven't done anything. They have not done nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they're not really worth talking about. I mean, they just got to get it together. They got to win some games, man. They got to like win a division or whatever, and maybe like they'll start getting more attention. But right now, they ain't even worth talking about. What about the Giants? What do you? Let me see. What do you think about what I think about the Giants? I think the Giants are a good football team. I think they're a young football team. I think that Daniel Jones could be the future of the franchise. I like the fact that they got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. Not to say that Odell Beckham Jr. is, not good. Of course, we all know that he's good, but I think that this team just needed a fresh start. It's kind of similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers situation. You get like what they call, the locker room cancer out, like Antonio Brown. You send him to Oakland. And now you got young guys on the team that can rally around each other and want to play for each other and not just playing for themselves. So I think with the Giants, you got guys like Saquon Barkley, a guy that's a leader, and you got a young wide receiver core. I mean, no number one receiver right now. I mean, Golden Tate, he has to serve a 4-game suspension. So in between that time, I think one of those younger guys are going to rise up. But I think the Giants are going to be much better than people are giving them credit for, I just think that people just get attracted to star power. If a team ain't got a whole bunch of stars on there, they just feel like they're going to be a failure. But those are the type of teams that just kind of rise up like a phoenix and shock everybody. And I think the Giants might be one of those teams. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think that they're going to be. Let me see. Look at Larry Fitz, all-time great wide receiver with no rings. J.J. Watt, all-time great, no rings. Adrian Peterson. It's sad, to be honest, to see players who are generation talents but no rings. Yeah, that's true, man. Larry Fitzgerald should have had a ring against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that beautiful catch by Santonio Holmes in the back of the end zone, that kind of crushed that dream. J.J. Watt, Me personally, I don't think he ever gonna get a ring with the Houston Texans. He probably gonna have to go somewhere else in order for him to get one. Adrian Peterson, he is the all-time great, running back, and I think he's gonna be considered as one of the all-time great running backs, but he not gonna win no ring. He definitely ain't gonna win one with the Washington Redskins. So shoot, I mean, but it is sad though but I don't think it's going to like taint their legacy or nothing like that. They all gonna be first ballot Hall of Famers. I mean, you gotta look at it this way too. I mean, look at Randy Moss. Randy Moss ain't got no Super Bowl, but he is considered one of the all-time great wide receivers. So I don't think you just necessarily have to win a Super Bowl, but I think that kind of puts your flag in the ground, so to speak, when you do win a Super Bowl, because it's like you really can't deny me. Like you have wiggle room to deny me when I don't, but now that I got one, you cannot deny me. You got to put me up there as one of the all-time greats. I still don't understand how Bridgewater can hit guys in the hands and they don't catch it. Are they allergic to him? And that comes from Ryan Tiplett. I don't know, man. Like, this is a young team, man. Guys are nervous. Guys are, man, this is the first time some of these guys are playing on a stage this big, man. I mean, just think about it. Like, you playing in the National Football League for the first time, man, and you got to go out there and Drew Brees throwing you the football, or Taysom Hill, or Teddy Bridgewater. Like, man, like you looking at all these stars around you, man, like all these people, this huge stadium, man, and you running out of there with an NFL logo on the side of your helmet, man. That can get to the best of anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have all the confidence in the world, but still can get a little nervous, right? How do you feel about Teddy's touchdown to interception ratio? I feel like he can get more touchdowns. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater needs to trust himself a little bit more, Jerry. I think that he doesn't have much confidence, man. I feel like that's the thing that's gonna hold him back. If Teddy Bridgewater wants to be a starter in the league, he has to have more confidence, man. I mean, I just feel like he just kind of got this unassured, like this. I don't know. I can do it. You sure you can do it? Yeah, I can do it. It's kind of like that, man. I'm not really sold on his confidence level yet, man. So I think he needs to work on that. And I feel like if you do it, you got to trust yourself, man. You got to trust yourself. I mean, going out there winging it, man, trying to throw the ball, trying to thread the needle, man, like, trust yourself, man. Trying to hold on to the ball, man, trying to get the perfect play, because sometimes that's not going to happen. You got to take what the defense give you and have confidence that you did the right thing. Do you watch LSU football? And if you do, how good do you think they can be this year? I think the LSU Tigers can be really good this season. They always are good defensively. I think that I'm just looking for LSU to actually get a quarterback, man. I feel like that's what holds LSU Tigers back year after year, that they can never recruit a decent quarterback, man. They recruit good quarterbacks, but they never recruit one of those guys that can actually turn, the school around and turn them into a contender. For them to go for a college national championship. For them to get in the college football playoff. So until they actually get a good quarterback, man, one of those elite guys, I think they're gonna always suffer. But they're always gonna have some good, solid running backs. They're always gonna have good receivers, and they always gonna have a good defense. So. But until they get a good quarterback, somebody like, Trevor Lawrence, I feel like he's gonna be like a once in a lifetime quarterback. But till they get like a good, decent quarterback that can get them over the hump, they're gonna forever, be getting beat down by the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this coming from somebody from Louisiana, okay? But it is what it is, man. They want to beat Alabama, man. They're gonna have to get a quarterback that can actually stand in that pocket and make decisions and get the ball where it needs to be. All right. How do you feel about the offense in the game against the Jets? Really good. I thought they were really good, Tanny. I think that I think that was the best drive that you can actually ask for. That's why Sean Payton just took them out, because they were ready. And, they just did a good job. So I think the offense was really good. I think everybody played good tonight. I think everybody offensively played good tonight. They put their best foot forward. So I don't know what Sean Payton told them, but it seemed like the message was received. What do you Brandon says, what do you think has a better chance? Or who do you think has a better chance to win a ring? Andy Reid or Ron Rivera? I'm gonna say Andy Reid because the only thing that was holding them back last year was the referees and their defense. In the AFC Championship game, I feel like they got screwed because that whole roughing the passer on Tom Brady. I feel like that kind of the reason why they didn't end up being in the Super Bowl. So I think if they fix their defense, I think that Andy Reid can make his way to the Super Bowl. Ron Rivera, I just don't trust Cam Newton, man. I mean, a lot of question marks with that shoulder, and now he got this ankle injury too. I think that the Carolina Panthers go as Cam Newton goes, and Cam Newton's hurt. They ain't going nowhere. I think LSU can be very good this year. Grant Delpit will be a top 10 pick in the draft. Yeah, he will. And I also think that Joe Burrow will play in the NFL too. Not me. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not sold on Joe Burrow. I understand he come from Ohio State and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. He's too inconsistent for me. I'm gonna answer one more question. I apologize, but we're like an hour and 41 minutes into it. We're gonna have to do another live stream during the week, and I encourage you all to check it out. And I really do appreciate you all for being here. Let me see. I'm asking one more question, man. Let's see. Do you see the Saints finishing the regular season at 12-4? Possibly. Okay, I'm gonna just say possibly. Tanny, I don't like giving prediction records. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm superstitious. Okay, I'm one more. LSU main problem last year was the O-line. Joe Burrow is a good quarterback, but we had best we had since Zach Mettenberger. Yeah, Zach Mettenberger was good, and a lot of people thought that he was, he had next in the NFL. That wasn't the case. The offensive line, yeah, they weren't really that good at LSU, but I seen a couple games Joe Burrow look like hot garbage. I'm sorry. To me, he was overthrowing guys. And I mean, I guess like I think there was the game. I think what they played against Georgia or something. I think they played against Georgia, and he played really good. But all in all, man, I'm just not sold on him. I just don't think he's the quarterback that can get them where they need to be. And that's another thing. LSU always get those guys that come from other schools, like Danny Etling, Joe Burrow. Like, man, like get you a guy that you can recruit and he can be a true freshman and he can learn and you can develop him. Get one of those guys. Until then, I just feel like they're gonna have the same issues. They're gonna have a good elite defense. Forget about the University of Texas talking about their DBU. No, LSU is DBU. Okay, they always have like great cornerbacks and secondary players, and they always got good running backs, but the quarterback is constantly holding them back. But this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, thank you all for checking out the live stream, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. I'm also available on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. And on Facebook, I actually post videos of Saints interviews. Like, I'm most likely going to post an interview of Coach Sean Payton after the game tonight. Also, just different things about the New Orleans Saints, just different information that I feel like you need to know. And also, you can follow me on Instagram if you're on Instagram at TJJones_. That's TJAYJONES_. Okay, but this has been a State of Saints podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Till next time, all I have to say is, who dat?